Hello everyone, this is Eric at RC Monster Garage. So, RC Monster Garage decided to build a monster and show you guys how to do that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to build this Arrma 1/5 scale Kraton 8S, and I'm going to show all the parts and process. So here on my messy table I have kind of everything we need. We have the transmitter, servo, we have actually the cooling fan for the motor, we have the firma motor and 160 amp ESC, we have two different gears, and we have also a GPS so we can monitor the gearings, what speed we're going to get. So what you want to do is check what speed you got, what gearing, and how hot the motor become, and then you can actually eliminate problems for the future. Let's go over real quick what we got and before we're going to put it in, just so you have a list if you need to buy the same thing. So to start, we got the transmitter right here, and this is the Spectrum DX5C. I did not pick this for any specific reason, but this is something that actually could work. Now I do have two different receivers over here. One of them is the SRS 600, this guy, and then I have this guy that I'm not sure if I'm gonna like so much. This one I have the EVC, so it's kind of when you move, it's move, and I really don't like it. Next, what we got here, let's see if we're gonna zoom on it. This is the Spectrum 905 large scale servo, and this is like 15 tooth. It's very important because this is the only thing that will fit with the system that come in this box. Then you're going to need this fan to put over here on the cooling ribs for the motor, and this is the Arrma fan 50 millimeters, and the part number for it is ARA 390295. And then you have here the firma motor and the ESC. So we're going to use at the beginning, and I say the beginning because we're going to change it later, a 1250 kV brushless motor, and ESC going to be the firma 160 amp brushless ESC with the smart system. And then for gearing, so because it's a mode 1, we get here two different one going to be 21 tooth mode 1, and this is going to be this one, and the other one going to be a 20 tooth. I know it's only one tooth, but sometimes this could make your motor a little bit warmer or so. It's something that we're going to go over and check. And of course, when you're talking about the mount, this is the mount that the fan will mount on. It is going to go on top of that, so I'm going to show how to do everything. Now, we're going to put also this dynamite GPS just so we can actually follow it. There is a lot of other GPS. The reason I'm picking up this, because this keep all the data on it. There is all the new one that send you all the information to your cell phone, and it's really cool. But I like to have something that if you don't have reception on your phone or your battery died or whatever, this is ready and you can just run it and get all the information that you need right there. So, without any further ado, let me take everything out of the box. I'm going to spread it here on my table, and we're going to start working. If you have any questions or comments, this will be like 3 parts video. This is the first part, and then I'm going to do the building parts, and then I'm going to do the driving parts and show you. And we're going to do another system that we're going to change the motor to a castle motor and show the difference between the big castle motor with the 200 amp versus the 160 amp for the firma. And also the motor from castle will be much bigger, and I'm going to have to make a special adapter for it. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share, and hit this bell icon over there so you can see all the new stuff that we're going to have. And we'll see you in a couple minutes. Let me take everything out of the box. Okay, so first thing first, we're gonna have to start with the steering servo we got here. And the steering servo is the Spectrum SPM 905. It's a large scale servo, and this is the 15 tooth servo that will fit actually to the Servo Saver that we got right here. Now, before we do anything with it, in the boxes that we got with the vehicle, there's this bag, and this bag have a couple different servo mounts in it. We're going to take them out, and then what's going on here, they give you two different mounts for two different size servo. So there is an oversized and there is a smaller one. So when you grab it in, you can see that this is too big. So obviously this is the wrong one. We're going to put it aside. We're not going to use that. And we're going to check here. We're going to see that this is the one that will fit. Now, that being said, we need to see what is going to be the direction of the steering servo for the linkage. And the linkage going sideways, so obviously it's going to have to go this way. So it's going to go sideways over there. So we're going to have to figure this out. Now, there is another part here. And this is the part that will close it from the top. This way, it's like kind of a male-female connector, and they will close it. Now, we're not going to close it yet because this part will be actually the bay for our receiver, and it's have actually over here the place to put a waterproofing rubber piece that we have inside. It's a red piece. But let's start with first thing first. Let's put the servo and mount it where it's supposed to be so it's not going to move. It's a very big car. There's a lot of parts. When you look at the Servo Saver over here, there's a lot of small parts, and I have the instruction for it right here, and it's actually right there. This is the parts that we need to do. It's really tiny, but there is, let's see, 1 2 3 4, these are about 20 parts in it. So hopefully we're going to do it the right way. Now let's start here. The same small baggie, there is inside a lot of nut and bolt in different sizes. I'm gonna pour them all over here on my table just so I can see what is going on. This is the seal that we're gonna use later for the receiver, so I can put it here together with the receiver and put it aside. This is the antenna tin, and okay, if you're wondering what is those pieces, let's use them right away so we're not gonna lose them. Those pieces are going right there, and those are to make your truck waterproof. So it's just like a piece of foam that insulate the entire box, so when you're going to go deep underwater, it's going to hold. Okay, now we need to take 4 of the bolts to hold the steering servo, and I'm assuming that those are those 4 big huge bolts because they are the only one that actually have the big temper end over here. I don't think I'm mistaken, but if I do, wow, it's going to be a problem. Let's see. Yeah, it's gonna fit right there. Now, whenever you get those, they don't have a starter on the hole over here. It means that when you're gonna start turning your screwdriver, you will need to create the thread, and I already see a problem. I'm using right now 2.5, and 2.5 is the wrong size, so I'm gonna go grab number 3 real quick. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna set those things up. Now, in addition, you're gonna get those small washers. Those guys, they look like little hats. What they do, they're kind of a shock absorber, and they will actually hold the servo kind of dead center. And again, the screwdriver that we need for this, actually, it's a LN number 3. It's a M3. It's a metric, and I'm gonna use a pneumatic tool to close it to save time. Okay, this is number 1. Let's put all of them together, and then we can shift it. And I use very low power tools, so I'm not going to strip anything. Let's see. Okay, so our steering servo is secure in place, so it's not going to move anywhere. This is perfect. This is what we wanted. And now what we need to do is look here how to set up the Servo Saver. So how to set up all this contraption that we got here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do that in front of the camera. It's a little bit complicated, so let me remove everything here just so we have it where we want it. Okay, so we have the screws that came for the other item, but we're gonna open this thing kind of sideways over here and try to figure out what's going on here. So first of all, we have the Servo Saver. The Servo Saver inside have those two male-female parts that kind of rotate one inside of another, okay? This has been said. You need to set them up in a way that pressure will actually move it out away one from another. Then you have the gear. This is, you can see here, they have two different gear, two different pinions. This is a 17 and this is a 15. So we are using a 15-2 servo. So this piece actually is the one that actually gonna go over here on top of our servo. And this piece actually have on the bottom, it have this small groove right there. And this groove is very important because this is where the steering servo gonna start moving left and right. Now, we have here all this shock system that's gonna go inside. Let's open it gently. I don't want anything to roll. Okay, so this is a big Servo Saver with a huge spring. This spring, like look at it, it's fit on my finger how big it is. And we have the seals over here that kind of got close. So what we got here is two different type of springs over here. That one will be the inside and one will be for the outside. And we have a washer and we have a bearings over here. And then we have those two little guys and another weird thing. I'm trying to figure out what this thing do. I think this is just to adjust the pressure of the servo for how much the Servo Saver will actually need to work. So let's see how all this thing goes together. So when you look at the instruction, they're showing you that, like, first of all, the parts that we already put inside, this is where it's supposed to go, but it's not showing you exactly the angle. So I think that I already see what they did over here, mistake in the instruction. There's a small groove right inside here on the bottom, and those small grooves need to go in a certain direction of up and down. So we're gonna set it up while they're up. It's kind of symmetric. Let's see. Yeah. So the inside and outside need to go this way, vertically. So when you push it in, it will just set itself up, but you have to push it all the way through. And now they are lining back together inside over there, right there. So this is step one. Then we have here the small spring. The small spring is supposed to go right there. And let's see what else they did over here. System is kind of really, they make it really kind of funny how the parts need to sit one on top of the other. Now this thing is supposed to be on the steering servo going right through here. And I think it kind of like in the instruction it's upside down. This is supposed to be from the outside over here. So I think that is a kind of a problem with it, and I'm gonna figure out and show it to you. So usually what you want to do is set up your steering servo and set up the screw over here already on your car, and then you have the top. So this is gonna go this way, and then you have to set it up. But one thing that they're not showing in the instruction, and I just thought about it, is super important. This servo need to be on a 0 point. Right now out of the box, I don't know what angle it's going to be. So if I'm going to lock this into place, it's maybe not going to work. So I'm going to hook it up to the remote system and set up the trim into 0. So later it's everything going to be set up for us. Let me do this real quick and then we're going to go back to it. Okay, so now our receiver is connected and I'm using external batteries just to make sure that the servo is where it's supposed to be. And the servo is working perfectly. I'm gonna leave my remote on for a second while I'm doing this. So I'm not gonna move this thing in any way. And what I'm trying to do right now is figure out the angle that this thing need to go. And this is gonna go about that way, up. Let's see, one more tooth. So it's not really setting up to 0 like I wanted to do. So what I'm gonna need to do is actually, after I set it up, I'm gonna have to trim it to be the right way, because right now it's definitely not gonna see the right way. Okay, so there is a small line over here. You can see this wheel is turning. So there is a line here, but it's a little bit off. Now they give you also those rubber bands. Those rubber bands, what they're doing is actually making this thing actually waterproof. So you're gonna need to actually set them up on top of it. Let's see, there's two different sizes. And then this supposedly gonna go right there. And this is gonna go on top of it. And then let's go from there real quick. Look in the instruction, because then this big part supposed to fit in both of them together, and this is where they're making it a little bit complicated. Okay, it's gonna go this way, but there is an Arrma logo, and I think the Arrma logo is supposed to go up. So I'm trying to set it up to where it's gonna be up. It's hard to see, but there is here like those squares, and they need to fit one on top of the other. Only in one way it's gonna fit. It's not gonna fit any other way. There it is. Okay, and then we got a bearing that's going right there. And I'm trying to check while we're doing this right now. So there is a set screw here. They're going to go through everything. I'm trying to figure out exactly what they did over here to make it actually work, and I still cannot figure it out. It's showing that one's supposed to go through the other, and if it is, there is two screws that are going to go one inside of the other. So let me figure it out real quick. Okay, so look what I changed. So first of all, you have two different springs, so you can pick up whatever you want that's going to work better for you, the smaller one or the bigger one. I decided to go with the bigger one. Then you have here this metal piece. This metal piece, what it does, it's actually, this is the Servo Saver itself that go here this way, and then we have another seal that need to go over here. This is again just the water seal. We're going to put it there. Okay, so far so good. And then this we're going to go right inside here, and then this is how it's look from the inside and out. And then this entire thing is supposed to fit right here. Okay, now when you do that, you have to play with it, because there is grooves down there that need to get hold together, and this is where you put this screw with a small kind of bushing that it's have on it, and then you have to force it to close together because it's under pressure right now with the spring. So what it's done then, it's kind of sandwiches everything together and activate in a way your Servo Saver. So right now while I'm closing it, it's getting tighter, and this part for the Servo Saver is going down. And then there is another bearing that's supposed to go on the top that I'm trying to figure out its function, but I guess we're going to see it in a second. Okay, so now the Servo Saver is set, this big piece, and then you see I can move it, but when there's going to be a strong resistance, it will actually gonna turn left and right on its own. So let's try to simulate that when we actually plug this into the power. Turn on our remote, and it's gonna look right there. Still connecting. With my battery just ran out. I think so. Yeah, my battery, the external battery just ran out. So it's kind of Murphy law. Let's try again, maybe it's not. Now it's working. Okay, so we have our steering working. So now whenever it's gonna move by itself, it's kind of gonna have like some power that holding it back from braking. So it's have a little bit kind of give over here, so it's pretty good. And this is how you set this thing up. There is another bearing that go right here. Where is it? It's small tiny bearing that's gonna go right there. And then there's another piece that go inside of the bearing, and I'm trying to figure out why they did it this way. And then there is another piece before you do that go inside, and this one is going with I think this one is a 4mm Allen or the 3. Let's see. This is actually a 4mm Allen that will put this piece inside, just so it's gonna lead everything together. Let me do this real quick and I'll come back. Okay, so we're going right now to this piece. This piece just going inside, and it's kind of a counterclockwise turn that you put it in. And it's just a plastic thread, so do it very gently. It don't have to have Loctite or anything. And then this is where it's getting a little bit weird. You have to put a bearing right there. There's a bearing that go in there. And then there is this piece of plastic that's gonna go right inside, that I'm assuming that it will sit somewhere else in the car just as a support. So this is already done. Now, additionally, what you need to do is like to put over here the servo mount, actually that we hook up to the car, and it's going to be this part. And this is pretty easy because all you need to do is just run the screw for it. Boop. And this is going to be the parts right here, those two that we just did right there. And then the next part that we are doing right now is actually the link for the servo. So the link for the servo is what's going to hold this linkage over here, and it's going to assemble from a screw, actually the part itself, a washer, and the nut. Then you have to put over here a washer, and on top of it you have to put a nut. But right now this will not actually hold anything for us. This actually, I'm just putting it together so we're not going to lose the parts, because you're going to need to do that later. You have to separate it and after you install it into the car. So I'm just going to put it together just so it's held together right now. It's this system here. This will have to get open in order to put it in the car, and then the bearing is going there. And we are done with the Servo Saver. The Servo Saver is set up the right way. Servo is working. I know it was a little bit complicated. They make it a little bit confusing in the instruction. I built a couple different for different brand. This one is kind of, I really don't like how it's worked, to be honest with you. But we'll see how fast it's going to break the servo actually. Let me bring the car in so we can start put the servo in. What we have to do right now is actually put a servo mount with a servo using those countersink bolts. They are 3mm tool. So way to do that, you just need to set this thing up right there. Make sure all the wires are kind of pulled forward. And I just saw what is the part that just fell. Let's see where it is. Right there. Of course, it fell right there. So this is the bearing that go to the servo. It's fit right there. What they did right here a servo grip that will keep the servo from breaking sideways when you actually torque it too much. It's pretty cool, and you know, I should have looked a little bit better in it, and I could probably figure it out, but I did not look at the car to see actually if in the car itself they did that. Then what we're going to do, we're going to go over there. So we put first screw to hold it, and then we can tilt it a little bit to wherever we want it. And what we're doing, we're screwing the screws from the back, so it's hard to show both sides at the same time. And we have two more. And then we're actually going to hook up the servo and test it. And the last one, of course. Okay, and while the car is sideways right now, I just want to show. So the linkage for the servo is the piece right here. Let's loosen it a little bit. It's very, very tight. Okay, now this need to go inside of that, and then we have to close the nut what we left open earlier. So the entire system over here, let's try to give it closer here. Entire system over here need to sit inside of this piece of plastic. So we're going to straighten it out, pull it in, and then we're going to do the adjustment needed. There is over here kind of a tool that we can use, so it's not a problem at all. You have to first go on the back and loosen it up. Okay. Okay, so we took the washer out, and what we're going to do now is we have to remove this entire part, and this part's supposed to go inside of that part. Now you have to press it in, it will not go in by itself, so I'm going to go to get a needle nose plier so I can do this without breaking my fingers. So what I did, I pulled the parts out to show you guys. So this is where the servo link supposed to go. I don't know why they did not leave it over there in the factory, because there's one on the car. They should have just left this, because I tried needle nose plier, it did not go well. So what I did, I just took it on the table, I drilled a small hole, and I punched it until it's got in and got into place. This is probably the only way to do that. Unless you have other way, please put in the comments below. And then now we can continue with what we were doing. So we have over here two holes that we need to deal with, but I'm gonna first deal with the big one right there. And let's see what number is this. This is number 2. The inside is going to be number 2. Okay, so we're going to fit it in. Then this is going to go inside of it. It's hard to show it to the camera how you do that, so I'm trying to find the right angle. You're going to go this way, and then you have to put this screw and the nut on it, and then it should fit. But for some reason this is actually, it's in the right way, but the screw is not long enough for it. So let me figure out what's going on, because this is the screw that actually came with it. And yeah, this is the screw that came with it for this purpose, but it's a little bit too short. So let me see if it's getting stuck or anything there. Yeah, I think we need a longer screw. The screw that they got here over here, it's a little bit too short when you put it actually with the dumper. So this piece here, where it's holding the servo together, is making it too short. So I have a longer screw. I'm gonna go get it. There's two screws going over there, shorter and a longer. We need the longer one, of course. So it's kind of my mistake. The way that I did that, I took one out and I misplaced it. So now we have the right size in, and then everything just gonna flow into place. So what happened is I remove a screw from the other side, and while doing that, I dropped it into the same spot, and I left it all the other screws, and it just mixed together. And stuff like this happens, especially when you're trying to look at the camera and to see that I'm making for you guys a video, not actually paying attention what I'm doing. It's not really good. Let's see, we need for it the right setup. Okay, and after you grab it, you have to put a tiny washer. And this tiny washer is super important, because if not, you're gonna tighten it too strong and it's not gonna move. And then we put the nut. The nut is a 3mm nut. And I think this is kind of the most complicated part in this build, is like to mount the steering servo. And most likely the steering servo will come out because they break pretty easy. Now there is a tool for what I'm doing right now. If you have from the RC, from the Nitro car, the tool for the wheels actually fit exactly to what I just did. It's just more comfortable here, like to do it so you guys can see everything. So now this is set up to the right spot. The servo will work in a second. So we have to do one more thing, hook up the servo to where we disconnected from. That it's right here, the center here, the Servo Saver. So we're gonna move to my top view camera in a second, just so you guys can see this. We're gonna tilt it sideways and drop it into place. And then we can later change the link of it. It's kind of scary that the tiny screw is holding the entire weight of the wheels, but I guess this is how they design it. So right now we have the steering actually set up, and let's bring actually the remote just so we can make it work. Now the wheels are toe out big time right now. Nothing is adjusted the right way, so we're gonna have to work on all this. I really don't like when they do it this way, because then it's kind of a lot more work. So nobody in the factory measure the distance and the wheels are kind of open up. Let me get the radio. Okay, so look at this. We have steering. Actually, it's working pretty good. Okay, and if you lift it, it's pretty quick also. So this was part one of setting up the steering servo, and what we're gonna start now, we're gonna work on putting the motor, gearing it up, and then placing the ESC, and then that's it, we're done. It's that simple. I know it was a little bit complicated, everything that was going on with the Servo Saver right there, but this is part of building a car that you don't know. You're always going to find those problems. Okay, so we continue. So in this segment, what we are going to do, we are going to actually put our motor, set up the gearing and everything. So let's start. So the gear that we're going to go over here are going to be the 21 tooth Model 1, and the part number is ARA 310968. It's already set up, just to put it in. It's already have the set screw in it, So we're going to take our motor, but before we put it in and set everything up, what we want to do is we want to take our motor and think how it's going to sit in the vehicle. And then what we're going to do is we have over here the cooling ribs. The cooling ribs is going to need to go on top of it, and then the cooling ribs is not screwing into the system. What it does, it's have a small clip right here, and this small clip gonna go here from the top and to the bottom, and it's actually gonna tie it all together. So this will actually go from here to there, and it's gonna tie it. You set it up until it's nice and tight, and this is how it's works. But before we do that, we have a fan that we have to put in. So we need to set up the fan, and we have to get the fan actually to have the wire going all the way to the receiver. So we have to calculate it's not going to be too far. Okay, so I cut it open. Now we can keep going. So you have the fan here, and then with the fan you also have over here the fan protective shield, and this is protecting actually from rock going inside and actually breaking it. So it's very important that you actually set up those pieces together, and then all you need to do is put your screws in, and set it up. Now the motor, the wire, you want it to go toward the vehicle, so you have like as maximum wire as needed. I think that this is still 3 millimeters. No, it's actually 4. We need a 4 millimeter again, and I got it right there. No. Yep, there it is. One. You don't want it to be super tight. 2, 3, 4. Now, you know, usually I like to put Loctite on stuff, but you don't need to do that on your fan. I don't see any reason to do that. I don't see any good coming out of it, so please, you don't really need to do that. Now, for the installation of the motor, I like to have the wires kind of going up, so it's easier to connect them to wherever you want. And then also, depending how you're going to set up your motor mount, it's going to be very important for the way that the motor is actually sitting inside of this contraption over here. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab the motor, we're going to grab the clips over here and put it from the top, and trying to see where going to be the best place for it to grab. And usually you press it out a little bit, and then you set it up to wherever you need it. Let's see, I like it to be a little bit tighter than that. So the second hole worked better. So we slide it into the second groove, and now this is actually pretty solid. It's not going to go anywhere. So this is actually a perfect fit. And then we still not put in the sprocket yet, because we have to have 2 motor mounts here that we're going to deal with, and they also give you another gear for higher speed that I'm not going to use right now. I'm just going to use the stock one. Okay, so there's 2 different motor mounts here, and they tell you the one is a 49 series and one is the 59 series. Like, if you're not sure what's gonna work for you, you can actually just grab it and actually look at the holes and see what will fit for your motor mount. And when you do this with this one, you can see that this one is the wrong one, and when you take this one, I can already tell that it's gonna have 3 screws holding it in place exactly where I want it. Of course, the holes on the top here, those are going to be the holes that you're going to tighten and hold it in place. Now, they're giving you here a couple screws. I cannot emphasize how bad those screws coming from Arrma that are holding from the top. So I'm going to put them as they are right now, but later I'm going to bag them up, and I'm going to take my Dremel tool and just make it into a straight fillet, because they always have problem that they strip easily. Those screws that hold in the motor inside, you cannot really do that because it's going to be a problem and it's going to weaken it. So those you can just heat up whenever you need to take it out after you set up the system. So let's put those things in and set it up in a way that the motor will stand kind of straight. And what I'm usually going to do is I'm going to start one. Yeah. I'm starting one, and then I'm going to back it up in a second. I just want something to hold. And then we're going to use Loctite. I'm using the Team Lossy Loctite, but you can use any Loctite. It's mean absolutely nothing what I'm using. It's no advertisement to them or anything. They all work exactly the same, but you have to have the blue Loctite. You cannot use any other color. If you're going to use the red, it's never going to open back. Okay, so put one and we put in another one, and then we're going to back up the first one that we insert in order to change it. Okay, those two are tight, and then we're going to back the last one, and we're going to put some Loctite. So you can put only a little bit because Loctite is kind of running all the way down, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Now, the cool thing about the cooling ribs on this that you can actually shift it to wherever you want it to get the right angle. So now we're almost set, and now when we're going to take our gear, our main gear over here, and we're gonna put it where we want it. Okay, from here, from the side, there's a place to run your tool, so pay attention to it. A lot of people don't know that it exists. And also there is a C clip that can go over here to preventing it from flying off. They give you, actually in the kit, they give you the tool for it, so it's really cool, but I did not see in the box or the bag any of those C-clips available. So let me bring the car here and let's put it in the car. We're going to do a couple adjustments and then we're going to go from there. Now those are the bolts that are going to go on the top. What I'm going to do is I have over here a little bit Loctite left. I'm just going to make them dirty with Loctite, and that's it. I'm not going to pour too much on them, and they are ready to go. And they give you a spare one of those because they know that it's going to fail. Okay, let's bring the car up. Okay, so what we're doing now, we put a motor in and we're going to slide it to where it's supposed to be. And then before you do that, just slide it backward, forward, and see that it's going smoothly. And then there's a trick. There is a hole here that will help you actually get to the bolt where you need to actually close it in. So it's going to be this little guy over there. And what I want to do is actually take it out, put some Loctite on it before I'm closing it in. And it's not 1.5, this is actually going to be 2. Woo! This car is heavy and pulling. Let me put a tool to hold it together. Houston, we almost lost it. Let's see. Still pretty good on the camera. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to do 2 cameras at the same time, and I'm trying to look through the camera while I'm doing this, so it's very hard. Okay, got some Loctite on it. A little bit more. Okay, now it's primed and ready. Now, very important is that this thing have a straight line on the motor mount, so you have to make sure that the straight on the motor, the flat area, you're going to go to where you're going to put your gear. What we're going to do now, just going to slide the gear through. Okay, and then I'm gonna tighten it just a little bit. I'm trying to tighten it just so it's gonna grab the motor so I can turn it to where I need it to be. And then I'm gonna put it back in. And I can confirm that it's on the straightaway. Now, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna push the motor and see where it's standing, and then I can adjust it, the two gears to be the same place. Hopefully this camera is catching what I'm doing over there right now. And the two are perfectly straight, and I tight the nut, and you know, usually you're gonna have to wiggle it a little bit in order to take it out, and that's it. It is out. Now, other thing that we have to do right now, you have to space it the right way. Usually what you're gonna do is you're gonna put a piece of paper over there, and the piece of paper that you're gonna put in between is gonna give you the enough spacing that you're gonna need for it, and then you're not gonna have any problem. So any regular piece of paper, you're just gonna shove it in there, wiggle it a little bit, and then see how it's work. Usually I'm gonna roll it on the floor for a second, and then go from there to see if it was too tight or if it was too loose. So let's do this real quick. I'm gonna pull it back. I'm gonna put piece of paper over there, very accurate paper. Okay, and then we push it in a little bit, and we're gonna take our screws here. Those are gonna be with the tool number 2.5. Yeah, those are 2.5. And we're gonna start closing it. Now, because you have two of them, one of them always gonna be a little bit tighter, so you have to close one and then tie the other. It's good. The motor mount will move a little bit, so you have to put it kind of under stress. Also here, if you notice, the cover will disturb you. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna back it up, roll this thing to wherever it's supposed to go, and then push it, and there is a small groove underneath the gear case that will actually let the screw slide. They make it very, very, very tight. So right now it's going right there underneath, and I push the motor in, tight it, and tight the other one. And now we're gonna roll the motor and see what will happen. Okay, very good. I can pull my paper, and then on my paper I will see that I have zigzags, and those zigzags telling me that like this is actually perfect with the pressure, and I can actually rotate it by hand, and it's actually working very good. It's very smooth, and it's moving the car gently. So I know that this is actually done right now over there, kind of perfect, and I can see from the side that it's perfect spacing. So now we're gonna put the ESC. Let me go open the box for the ESC so we're not wasting your time, and let's start doing that. Okay, so now we're gonna start with the ESC. Now, before we keep going with the ESC, this is the bracket that the ESC is going to sit on, and then we're gonna have to put the water seal right there. But there is some wires that need to go right now through the receiver, and we have over here, we have the wire for the servo. We're gonna have a wire for the ESC, and we have our fan wires that all need to get fed from the same place. So for the one that's going to the receiver, we can actually put it in any empty auxiliary one. I'm gonna put it at actually number 6 because it's something that we're never going to use to anything. And again, the black wire is going to the outside. And then we're going to open real quick for the ESC. For now, we're using the firma, the Smart 160M. This is 8S. And later I'm going to replace it with a combo that we got today for the 5th scale from Castle Creation. And I'm going to show it at the end of the video actually. So when you get it brand new, it's actually very nice in the bag. And they're giving you also the plugs and give you some double stick tape. And it's kind of falling apart like a puzzle. And there it is. This is your big ESC. Yeah, I know it's not as big as some of you guys would like to see, but it's definitely going to do the job. Now, we do have here a wire that need to go inside to our receiver. So what we're going to do is we're going to track on the side over here. It's going to have where the throttle and where is the steering, and we're going to put this into the THR for throttle, STR for steering, and then you have auxiliary 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are for other items, just if anybody was wondering what all those are. Now, additional, very important, I know 99% of you guys don't even know that. Whenever you put your receiver, try to put foam around it. When you jump your car, a lot of you guys complain, oh, my radio equipment stopped working, because it's getting smacked so bad. So what you want to do is to have a piece of foam surrounding your receiver as a buffer. This will absorb all the impact and all the crashing and everything, so you don't have a lot of damage to your electronics, and your car will always going to be reliable. This is something very simple to do that I think nobody is doing it for some reason, so please pay attention and take this advice. If you're not agreeing with me about anything else, please take this advice. This is very important. Now we're going to put our receiver back into the box over here, and after we're doing that, now we have here a salad of wires that we're going to have to actually find where to put in. So we're going to estimate what we need right now in order to put the receiver hook up together with the ESC. And there is a slot over here that we put earlier, the foam. We're just going to run it through it in one side, in and out until it's fit. Okay, and then this wire is in and secure. And then we're going to take our servo wire and do the same exact thing from the other side. So we have like minimal wires on the outside of the vehicle, so nothing can grab it or cause any kind of problem. Now we have all these extra wires all over the place, so what I recommend is just to fold it gently in a nice way and plug it in. Everything going in the corner over there where we have some extra. It's a big area for all your wires, so there's a lot of place over there. Just kind of make sure that they stay round on the tips and put them in. Okay, now we still want to pull our antenna from here, but before we do that, I'm gonna give you guys another tip. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna stop the video and go get something. Okay, we are back. So what I got here Arrma part SPM A3001. What it is actually an extension cord for a servo. It's one of those. The reason that I'm going to plug one of those in right now is if we're going to need to use any extra light on the car, I really would like to have everything ready so I don't have to open the vehicle for it. It's very important, and then it's actually easy. You never have to access something that it's already open and ready for you. This is just an idea, a quick idea. Just get one of those, plug it in, and then you're good to go whenever you need it. Always plan ahead when you do the RC stuff. It will save you a lot of headache later to try to redo stuff. So okay, now it's hooked up in the next channel, and we're going to hook up actually light to it as well. I'm just trying to see it's hooked up the right way. There is 3 channels over there that are available. I'm trying to see that I'm not getting stuck between 2 channels, and so we're not going to short anything, and it's actually perfect. We're going to plug it back in, and we're going to run one more wire here into this place. This is the wire for the fan. I run it underneath here, and then this wire will come outside and just gonna be hanging over there until we are ready to use it. I'm gonna put it here on the side for now, and it's good to go. Wow, someone is racing on the street over here. Okay, now we got over here this system that we need to close everything together. So whenever we're gonna go and close everything, we want our antenna to stay outside, so it's very important. So what we're going to do, we run the antenna first out, and you have the holes that are going to go like for the antenna, and it's going from here, okay? But usually, like, I rather do that from the side. It's a better idea. And we still haven't hooked up the ESC, so be patient. Okay, it's gonna go through here right now for the antenna. And I'm just gently pulling it, and then what I need to do, I need to put actually our seal. And again, the seal over here, I'm gonna show it again so nobody gonna run it without. This is the seal. This is what the seal is gonna do. The seal is going to seal it for us and make it completely waterproof. Okay, so again, we're gonna put the seal right there where it's supposed to be, and then we're gonna run the wire. Our antenna wire, be very gentle with the antenna wires. You cannot cut the tip of them. Someone was asking me in one of the video if like this wire, the tip of the antenna, if you can remove it, and there's a piece of metal over there, and I told him no, it's a cover, do not remove it. So please learn from this question, do not ever remove the tips of the wires. They're all there for a reason, and it's actually a good reason, so everything will work. Now I'm checking again, so nothing gonna get pinched and get cut. I'm shoving everything with my finger. Everything looking pretty good. It's just the seal don't really want to stick to the top over here, and it's kind of annoying. Let's try to force it to stay. It's not really asking me, it's just falling. I'm just gently gonna bring it to where we need it, and I'm gonna gently pull the antenna, and the antenna is there where I need it. And now I'm checking that no wire got pinched and everything is closed the right way, and it seems to be that everything is working just fine. And then now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close the box. There is here corner sink screws that gonna hold the box closed, and then there's gonna be 4 bolts that gonna hold actually the ESC in place. Let's see. I think it's getting blocked by something. There it is. Okay, so after I put the first screw, what I'm going to do right now, I'll just make sure nothing is pinched, the antenna is good. This is actually falling right into place where you need to get it. And I'm going to do diagonally the other side, just so it's going to close in a nice square. Okay, second one is closed, and let's run this quick. Okay, now the only thing left for us to do is mount right now the ESC and plug it in, and we're all done. Let's do it now. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we have to actually set up our ESC, and after we're gonna set up the ESC, we're gonna have to set up our on and off switch. So the ESC gonna go that way. It's actually just sit into place. There's kind of nothing that you need to do. There is like those male-female connector over there that they just fall into place, and then we just need to actually again take the screws and put it back together. So let's do this real quick. Okay, so this is good. Now, before we continue anywhere, you have here your on and off switch. The on and off switch will have the groove over here that will fit kind of right there. So it's kind of perfect fitting. And then you have the setup that you can just do whatever you want with it. So let's put it in. Okay, so on-off switch is there. We have the two battery cables going left and right. We have our antenna hanging over there. We're gonna move it a little bit in a second. Now, we have here all those wires. Very important when you look in those wires, there is kind of negative, positive, and a signal. So if you put it in one of them is going to the wrong direction, then you have to change it. So let's do that. Okay, so what we're left for us to do is to actually plug our motor. So usually I like to kind of braid them a little bit. So you just kind of do this, and it sometimes prevents a little bit interference. And then we're going to plug them in. And then what we're going to do later, we're going to check that all the lines are getting to the right holes, and we're going to get actually forward brake and reverse in the right order. A lot of time when you plug them, one wire can be misplaced and then the vehicle will not work the right way. Hopefully with a smart system it will be a little bit easier. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to plug batteries and I'm going to check how it's going to work. So usually when you're going to want to plug a battery, what I'm going to do in order to test it, I'm actually going to put this plug in, and I'm going to use one battery only just to see that everything working smooth enough that we don't have a problem and we don't overforce anything on the vehicle. Let me clean around real quick, bring a battery, and we go from there. Okay, so everything is set up right now to do a test. So again, I'm testing it first with a single battery. I'm just going to plug it in first. It's preventing a lot of problem to do it this way. And let's turn the remote, and the remote is cycling, and then we can start the car. Okay, and then my steering is working perfect. And then I do not want to actually press the throttle right now because it's going to launch it from the table. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab it and lift it for a second and just gently shift forward and forward. No, I did not even get the ESC. So the ESC did not cycle right now. I think that this battery is just too low. I'm going to try another battery. Usually it's like it's going to go for a cycle. I'm going to check in a second and see what's going on. I'm going to get another battery real quick. Shut it off. And always disconnect when you're not running. Okay, so I got over and I figured out what was the small issue. There was a small issue actually with the AVC system in the remote. So now it should work. Okay, now we have steering, and if we lift the car, so everything is working and it's kind of ready to run. So what I'm going to do before I'm going to run it, let's disconnect this. One very important thing to do with brand new RC cars, especially when they are that big, you want to go over the entire car. Make sure the nut over here is locked. Make sure that like anything is supposed to have a lot of strength on it is actually tied the right way. Make sure all the fans are working. Make sure there is Loctite everywhere. Make sure your shocks, all the suspension set up for the height that you want it. And then you can go and rip it, you know, try to play with the wheels. Make sure first on slow speed that the car is going straight, and then we can start opening it. Now this is an 8-cell system and I used 3-cell on it, and it was actually feel pretty powerful. So let's take it out and see how it's going to be. Left to do is to go out and run it, and we're gonna do that in the next video. But meanwhile, if you like the video, please don't forget to press the like button, subscribe, and share the video so more people can enjoy it and learn more about it. Right now we're just gonna close it kind of real quick just so I can put it back on the floor. I'm gonna charge 2 4S batteries just so we can go and run it. And that's it for this video for the Arrma Kraton 8S. And later, as I mentioned before, I have a box here on the floor with the castle creation motor that we're gonna try to check what's gonna be the difference. So stay tuned. Like, subscribe, share, and write a nice comment. It's helped the algorithm and it's helped us giving you guys gift. So don't forget, be nice. It's going a long way in our channel. Bye.